Eli Mercer was 20 years old when his life split quietly in two. There was no explosion, no warning siren, just a message that arrived at exactly 7:42 a.m. on an ordinary weekday, while he stood in his kitchen waiting for water to boil. "Do you know where your name comes from?" He stared at the phone, confused more than alarmed. Unknown number, no profile photo. He deleted it without replying. By the time the kettle clicked off, another message appeared. "Your father did." Eli felt the first ripple of unease then, not fear, but recognition. A sense that something had brushed against a part of his life he rarely touched. He locked his phone and went to work. Eli lived carefully, not cautiously, just quietly. He worked in digital archiving for a mid-sized firm, restoring old records no one else wanted to deal with. His days were predictable, his evenings empty but peaceful. That night, he called his mother. Claire Mercer answered on the third ring. "You sound tired," she said. "I'm fine," Eli replied. "I just had a weird message today." Silence stretched a little too long. "What kind of message?" she asked. He told her. Claire didn't speak for several seconds. "Mom, you shouldn't respond," she said finally. "If they contact you again, tell me." "Who's they?" Another pause. Then, softly, "I hoped this wouldn't happen." Eli felt something cold settle behind his ribs. The messages continued over the next few days. Not threatening, not demanding. Observations. "You walk past the old post office every morning. You still take your coffee black. You look like him when you think no one is watching." Eli changed his routine. Left earlier. Took different streets. It didn't matter. On the fourth night, Claire came to his apartment. She brought an envelope. Inside was a photograph. A man stood beside her in the picture, younger than Eli had ever imagined his mother being. Tall, sharp-eyed, one arm around her shoulder, the other resting protectively on a child's head. "Eli, that's not my father," Eli said. "No," Claire whispered. "That's Marcus Hale." She sat down heavily. "He was involved in things," she continued. "Powerful things. When I left, I thought disappearing would be enough." Eli looked at the photo again. "The messages," he said. "They're about him." Claire nodded. "They always come back to names," she said. "And yours was protected for a long time." "Protected? By who?" She met his eyes, fear naked and unfiltered. "By your father." That night, after Claire left, Eli stood alone in his apartment, the photograph in his hands. Outside, the city hummed as it always had. But something had shifted. Eli didn't know it yet, but his name, the one he'd worn his entire life without question, was no longer just his. And someone had finally decided to claim it. Eli Mercer learned early that silence could be louder than anger. The morning after the voicemail, the city felt unfamiliar, as though it had shifted overnight. The sidewalks were crowded, cars honked impatiently, coffee shops buzzed with life. Yet Eli moved through it all like a ghost, unseen and untouched. He didn't delete the message. He didn't replay it either. It sat on his phone like a loaded weapon. At work, his desk looked the same as it always had: neatly stacked files, a cracked mug with faded lettering, a framed photo of his mother taken years before she disappeared from his life. She was smiling in the photo, standing in front of a house Eli barely remembered. The image felt dishonest now. "Mercer," his supervisor said, tapping the desk. "You okay?" Eli nodded too quickly. "Yeah, just tired." Everyone was tired. That was the accepted excuse. By noon, the words from the voicemail were pushing against the walls of his mind, demanding space. "I made a mistake leaving. I thought you'd be better without me." Better. The word tasted bitter. During lunch, Eli walked instead of eating. He found himself drifting toward the old part of the city, where buildings leaned into one another like tired men sharing secrets. He didn't remember deciding to go there. His body just knew. The address from the voicemail played in his head. He told himself he was only curious. The building was narrow and worn. its brick darkened by years of rain and neglect. A small sign near the entrance read Hawthorne Apartments. Some of the letters were missing. Eli stood across the street, hands in his jacket pockets, staring. This was where she lived now. The woman who had vanished when he was 14. The woman who had taught him how to ride a bike, then disappeared without a goodbye. A couple walked past him, laughing. A delivery truck roared by. Life continued, indifferent to his hesitation. He crossed the street. Inside, the hallway smelled of old paint and dust. The stairs creaked under his weight as he climbed to the 3rd floor. Each step felt heavier than the last. Apartment 3B. He stood there for a long time before raising his hand. Then he knocked. The door opened slowly. She was thinner than he remembered, older. Her hair, once dark and thick, was streaked with gray and pulled back carelessly. But her eyes were unmistakable. "Eli," she whispered. The sound of his name in her voice broke something inside him. They stared at each other, frozen in time, two people connected by blood and years of silence. The air between them felt fragile, like glass. "I didn't think you'd come," she said. "I didn't think I would either." She stepped aside, letting him in. The apartment was small but tidy. A couch by the window, a narrow table with one chair, framed photographs lining the wall. Eli recognized none of the faces. "Do you want tea?" she asked nervously. "No," he said, then softened his tone. "I'm okay." They sat across from each other, the space between them heavy with unspoken questions. "I heard your voice," Eli said finally. "After all these years." Her hands trembled as she clasped them together. "I didn't know if you'd listen." "I almost didn't." She nodded, as if she had expected that. "I thought leaving would make things easier," she said. "Your father and we were drowning, and I was scared of becoming someone I hated. So you left me?" Eli asked quietly. She flinched. "I left the situation," she said. "I told myself you were strong, that you'd understand one day." Eli laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. "I was a kid." Silence settled again. He wanted to yell, to demand answers, to ask why she never wrote, never called, never tried. But another part of him, the part shaped by years of disappointment, was afraid of what those answers might be. "I didn't come for apologies," Eli said, though he wasn't sure that was true. "I came because I need to know why now." She looked at him, eyes shining. "Because I'm sick." The word hit him harder than expected. "I don't have much time," she continued, "and I couldn't leave this world without telling you the truth." Eli leaned back, his chest tightening. "What truth?" She stood and walked to the wall of photographs. Her fingers hovered over one frame before lifting it down. "This," she said, handing it to him. It was a photo of a younger version of herself, standing beside a man Eli had never seen before. "Who is that?" Eli asked. She swallowed. "Your real father." The room felt suddenly too small. "My father died when I was 12, Eli said slowly. "That's what I wanted you to believe," she replied. "To protect you." "Protect me from what?" She met his gaze, fear flickering across her face. From the kind of man he really was. Eli stared at the photo, his mind racing. His entire childhood, the stories, the memories, the grief, felt like they were unraveling. "How many lies are there?" he asked. "Too many," she admitted. "And I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to hear me." Eli stood abruptly, pacing the room. Every step stirred up anger, confusion, and something dangerously close to longing. "Why tell me this now?" he demanded. "Because someone is looking for you," she said softly. He stopped. "What do you mean?" She took a shaky breath. "Your father didn't disappear quietly, and the past doesn't like to stay buried." Eli felt a chill run through him. For the first time since the voicemail, fear outweighed anger. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. Inside, Eli realized his life was no longer his own. Eli didn't remember leaving the apartment. He remembered the door closing behind him, the sound dull and final, like the ending of a sentence no one wanted to finish. Everything after that blurred into motion: stairs, streetlight, traffic, until he found himself standing beneath the elevated train tracks, hands shaking, breath shallow. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He stared at the screen until it stopped vibrating. Then it buzzed again. He answered. "You shouldn't have gone there," a man's voice said calmly. Eli's stomach dropped. "Who is this?" A pause. A faint sound of breathing. "Someone who knows your father." The call ended. Eli stood frozen as the train thundered overhead, metal screaming against metal. People passed him without a glance. The city didn't care that his past had just reached out and touched him. He walked home without thinking, every shadow suddenly alive, every reflection in glass making his heart jump. When he reached his apartment, he locked the door, checked it twice, then sat on the floor with his back against it. Claire's words echoed in his head. "Someone is looking for you." That night, sleep came in fragments. Images bled into one another. A man with unfamiliar eyes, a woman crying in a dim apartment, a child standing alone in the rain. Each time Eli drifted off, he woke with the same thought pressing into his chest. None of this was random. By morning, he knew one thing. If someone was searching for him, then answers weren't optional anymore. The name came to him late afternoon. He was digging through old boxes his mother had once mailed him years ago, things he'd never bothered to open. Inside one was a stack of documents tied together with twine, old utility bills, letters with no return address, and one folded paper with a name scribbled in the margin: Marcus Hale. The handwriting was his mother's. Eli searched the name online. The results were thin at first. An arrest record from years ago, a closed investigation, a company that no longer existed. But then he found something else. A news article from 17 years ago. Local businessman questioned in connection to disappearance. The photo loaded slowly. When it appeared, Eli felt his breath leave his body. The eyes. They were the same eyes from the photograph his mother had shown him. Marcus Hale was alive, and he had been watching. Eli didn't tell Claire he knew. He didn't call her at all. Instead, he followed the address attached to the article, an old industrial district near the river, long abandoned by the city, but still breathing with quiet activity. Warehouses stood like monuments to forgotten ambition, their windows dark, their walls tagged with faded graffiti. The building he was looking for had no sign, just a black door. Eli hesitated only once before knocking. It opened almost immediately. A man stood there, older than the photo, but unmistakable. Tall, calm, eyes sharp with recognition. "You look like her," the man said. Eli's voice came out steadier than he felt. "You called me." Marcus Hale smiled slightly and stepped aside. "Come in." The warehouse interior was warm and carefully maintained, nothing like the outside suggested. Lamps cast soft light over leather chairs and polished floors. Everything felt deliberate. "You've grown," Marcus said, pouring a drink Eli didn't touch. "Last time I saw you, you were hiding behind your mother's legs." Eli's jaw tightened. "You left." Marcus shook his head. "I was pushed out." "That's not what she said." Marcus met his gaze. "She never tells the whole truth." Silence stretched between them. "I didn't want to find you," Eli said. "But you found me." "Yes," Marcus replied, "because the past is catching up, and you're part of it now." "Why?" Eli demanded. "Why me?" Marcus leaned back, studying him. "Because you're my son, and whether you like it or not, what's coming belongs to you too." Eli felt anger flare. "You don't get to decide that." Marcus smiled again, but this time it didn't reach his eyes. Life already did. He stood and walked toward a large window overlooking the river. "There are people who think you have something they want." "I don't have anything," Eli said. Marcus turned. "You have a name." That was when Eli understood. This wasn't about money or revenge. It was about legacy. Outside, the river moved silently, carrying secrets downstream. Inside, Eli realized he had stepped into a story that began long before he was born and wouldn't end unless he faced it. Eli didn't leave the warehouse right away. The conversation replayed itself in his head, looping, reshaping, revealing meanings he hadn't caught the first time. Marcus Hale hadn't threatened him. He hadn't begged. He'd done something worse. He had spoken as if everything was already decided. When Eli finally stepped outside, dusk had settled over the river. The air smelled damp, metallic. The city lights flickered on one by one, indifferent to whatever inheritance had just been handed to him. His phone buzzed again. This time it was Claire. "Where are you?" she asked the moment he answered. "I needed air." A pause. Then, carefully, "Did you find him?" Eli closed his eyes. "Yes." She exhaled shakily. "I was afraid of that." They met an hour later at a quiet cafe far from the warehouse district. Claire looked smaller than he remembered, shoulders drawn inward, eyes scanning the room as if danger might follow her inside. "He told me I'm part of something," Eli said. "Something people are coming for." Claire's hands trembled around her cup. "Because of your name." That's what he said. She nodded slowly. Then it started. Eli leaned forward. Started what? Claire stared at the table. When she spoke, her voice was barely audible. "Your father wasn't just questioned back then. He was protected." By who? By people who don't exist on paper. Eli felt a chill. "You mean criminals?" She shook her head. "I mean systems." She finally met his eyes. Marcus built something. Not a company, a network. Favors, records, quiet leverage. When the investigation closed, it wasn't because he was innocent. It was because too many powerful people needed him silent. "And now?" Eli asked. "Now he's sick," she said softly. "And when men like that start losing control, they prepare replacements." The word landed heavy between them. Replacement. "I didn't agree to any of this," Eli said. "You don't have to," Claire replied. "But they don't care." The first message arrived that night. No sender, no subject, just an attachment. Eli hesitated before opening it. Inside was a scanned document, old, official, stamped. His name appeared in the margin, handwritten. Below it, a list. Transactions, meetings, names. Some of them he recognized. A city council member, a real estate developer, a man who appeared on television every morning. His phone buzzed again. "You should see how deep it goes." Then another message. "Your father kept you clean. Others won't." Eli deleted nothing. Instead, he saved everything. By the end of the week, strange things started happening. A landlord suddenly waived 3 months of rent without explanation. A parking ticket disappeared from the system. A job application he hadn't followed up on resurfaced, with an offer far above his qualifications. Every convenience felt like a warning. Marcus called on the 7th day. "You're being noticed," he said calmly. "I don't want favors," Eli replied. "You already accepted them by being born," Marcus said. "The only question is whether you'll pretend they aren't there." Eli gripped the phone. "What happens if I walk away?" Marcus didn't answer immediately. Finally, people don't like losing investments. The call ended. That night, Eli stood in front of his bathroom mirror longer than usual. He studied his face, the familiar parts, the unfamiliar weight behind his eyes. He thought about how easily doors had opened once his name was known, how fragile fairness suddenly seemed, how tempting it would be to stop fighting the current and let it carry him. When he turned off the light, his phone buzzed one last time. Tomorrow, noon, bring nothing. Eli lay awake until morning. For the first time, the question wasn't whether he was in danger. It was whether he was becoming dangerous himself. Eli arrived early. The place was ordinary by design, A downtown office building with mirrored windows and a lobby that smelled faintly of disinfectant and coffee. No guards, no signs, just a security desk and an elevator that opened only with the right access. At exactly noon, his phone buzzed. 3rd floor, conference room C. The elevator ride felt longer than it was. Eli watched the numbers rise, each one tightening the knot in his chest. When the doors opened, the hallway was quiet, carpeted, intentionally dull. Conference room C was already occupied. 3 people sat at the table. Marcus Hale was not one of them. A man in a tailored gray suit stood as Eli entered. He smiled politely, the way professionals do when they believe they're already winning. "Eli Mercer," he said. "Thank you for coming." The others didn't introduce themselves. They didn't need to. "We'll be brief," the man continued. "Your father is very ill. His role must be transitioned." Eli sat down slowly. "And you think that's me?" The man nodded. "You're clean, untouched by investigations. That's rare. What happens if I say no?" The man folded his hands. "Then life becomes less cooperative." Eli thought about the favors, the erased ticket, the sudden opportunities. "I didn't build any of this," Eli said. "No," the man agreed. "But you benefit from it." Silence settled over the room. Finally, Eli spoke. "What did my father do to protect me?" The man hesitated. "Just a fraction of a second. He kept you invisible." Eli smiled faintly. Then he slid his phone across the table. The screen lit up with files, messages, documents, transaction records. Everything he'd been sent. Everything he'd saved. "I forwarded copies," Eli said calmly. "To journalists. To auditors. To people who don't owe you favors." The man's smile vanished. "You wouldn't," one of the others said. "I already did," Eli replied. "An hour ago." The room shifted. Not panic, calculation. "You don't understand the consequences," the man said tightly. "I do," Eli said, "but I also understand something else." He stood. "My father built power by hiding. You all survive by silence." He met their eyes, one by one. "I'm choosing noise." By evening, the city was buzzing. Articles appeared. Names surfaced. Old cases reopened. Carefully buried systems creaked under sudden light. Marcus Hale died 2 days later. There was no obituary. Claire called that night. "It's over," she said. "No," Eli replied softly. "It's finished." He moved shortly after. Changed numbers. Took a modest job in a city where nobody knew his name. Some doors no longer opened for him. Others opened slowly, honestly. Years later, Eli would still wonder what life would have looked like if he'd accepted the offer. But every time the thought surfaced, he remembered the mirror, the moment he chose who he would become. And that was enough.